The Common Agricultural Policy, as far as I'm concerned, does have potential to create jobs, but one of the ways that you can create jobs through agriculture is the fact that farmers don't leave the euros in their pockets. They spend it in the local community. And if we continue with a situation here where you have maximum payments of €150,000, well, that €150,000 isn't all going to be spent locally. It's going to be spent, as was the case in Ireland, and there's plenty of evidence out there, much of that money was spent on buying apartments in Croatia and around Europe, but it certainly wasn't spent in the local community. If we limit the size of the payments to something a lot lower than €150,000, then that money can be spent in the local community. If Keolis's proposals had been listened to, even one region near me, Leitrim, would have got €11 million more per year, €400 for every man, woman and child in that area, and that would have been spent locally. Instead, it was given to ranchers and given to the types of people like Larry Goodman, who doesn't spend his money locally, he spends it on jets for himself. And that's one of the major problems, because as long as one man has a jet, someone else is going to go hungry.
Now, Mr. Flanagan.
Even if farmers get together in producer groups, they're still going to be dealing with massive multinationals that are going to be a lot bigger than them. And as Ms McGuinness said, there's two things need to be done. You not only need to organise the farmers, but you also need to limit the size of the companies that they're dealing with. The Commission seems to be keen to go after companies like Ryanair, go after Microsoft, going after Google now. Isn't there a similar role there for them? And it was mentioned about things happening locally. We're seeing a further consolidation in Ireland at the moment with the merger of the ABP Group and Slaney Foods. It will mean that 40% of sheep meat will all be processed in the one place. And while you have a situation like that, the farmer is always going to be crushed unless they get together in massive groups. But obviously the better way to do it would be to limit the size of some of these supermarkets. Maybe it mightn't be as extreme in some countries, and I notice it isn't here. You can shop in a variety of shops around Brussels. There's a lot of independent stores, lots of Carrefours, lots of Delhaize's, but there still are independent stores. But they're pretty much non-existent in Ireland, and a handful of companies basically can decide what's going on, and God knows what's going on in the background. So what do you think of the idea of limiting the size and getting a bit radical about it? Because in the end, they don't help the consumers. In the end, there's very few of them, and in the end, they screw everyone.